What's up? What's up? I'm William, and I'm the CEO of C-Cube, and I'm so glad to be here. I see a lot of people over here, and I see a lot of friends. I've been known, I know those guys and this guy for ages. So today, the topic of the panel is going to be gaming and NFTs, how to build IPs. And because we have seen, especially for earlier this year, we see a lot of celebrities, we see a lot of gaming famous IP, and they transition into Web3. And vice versa, so there are lots of NFT projects originally from the Web3. They try to build stronger IP, highly recognizable IP. And I think one essential elements for having an IP is having fans, having loyal fans, which means communities in Web3. Before that, I just want everybody just briefly introduce themselves, and I'll start asking questions. Okay, start from you.
Hello. Let me see. First of all, I want to thank William and also Taipei Blockchain Week for inviting us to such a great event. So hello everyone, I'm Benson, the CEO of Elysium Show. So we are a NFT project launched in April. So here are 3 things that you have to know about Elysium Show. So first of all, is that we're trying to provide NFT gamification experience because we believe NFT should be fun, so that is why we create a system. So the idea is that if you visit our official website, you can put 2 of our NFT, Elysium Show NFT together, then you will be able to get 5 components. You assemble the 5 components together, then you will get a mecha. What's special about this is that before you assemble them, you can swap all these components on the secondary market or with your friends. So in a sense, it creates a gamification experience. It make it fun, make NFT funnier and interesting to everyone. So the second thing is that the goal of Elysium is that we always wanted to create an avatar that represents you in the metaverse. So now we are one of the few projects in the space that provide 3D models that is adaptable for most metaverse platform. So we believe as technology keeps developing, in the future, you will be able to use our avatar in all this digital world. So the third thing is that we will keep developing our IP as an NFT project. So now we are in talks with different kinds of Web2 brands. And of course, we have very fantastic stories and of course the visuals. So I think that's all about Elysium. Thank you.
Hello. Hey, I'm Alex from Zombot, also the Zoo Friends NFT founder. So I founded my company about 10 years ago, and we are a studio that services Web2 companies to build AAA game content. So we've been doing that for the past couple of years, and with Zoo Friends is kind of our first venture into leveraging our Web2 experience, building strong IPs for these big studios, and to build a IP for ourselves, and that's what we've been doing. So we share a lot of similar kind of visions with Elysium. We believe in a metaverse future. So with Zoo Friends, we have 3D avatars also that is interoperable between different metaverses. Also building a platform for our avatar as well as other future avatars that will come in as well.
Hello everyone, this is Maurice from the Kingdom Labs. So I'm the Chief Strategy Officer from Kingdom Labs. So we are a VC and we invest and incubate NFT projects and also GameFi projects. So I think one of the most famous project they invested is called the Monkey Kingdom, the cute little monkeys that as an NFT. So we have 3 generations and we started around a year ago. So during this year we have 3 generations and we have been doing a lot of things to transform from just a blue chip NFT project from Hong Kong to a GameFi project and also building a Web3 auction infrastructure. So so this is, I think, is a good example to see how we can actually use an NFT IPs and do different types of projects in the Web3 area. Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Walter. I'm the COO of TSM. We're a premier esports team all around the world. We compete in games like League of Legends, Valorant. Hopefully you know some of these games. And we've done a lot of blockchain partnerships, Web3 partnerships in the past, promoting NFTs, things like that. And we've also started a game development studio in Web3 last year that we're incubating right now.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm William, and C-Cube, I'm the founder of C-Cube, and C-Cube is a incubator, marketing-oriented and community-focused. So we help Web2 business to transition their business model into Web3 and help them to use marketing strategies, like different tactics to launch their products. And I'm also a marketing director of the NFT projects called Alpaca Dabras, which we also tie into GameFi, we tie into the sandbox, and we focus on community. So the question is about community because, like what I said before, I think to have a strong IP, you need to have a strong community. So I want to ask Benson a question because obviously Elysium Shell has a strong community, and congrats on your recent physical event. It went successful. And what are the tips to build communities, and from your perspective, what are the pros and cons for running a communities for NFTs and the importance of the impact on building a successful IPs?
Okay, thank you, William. So I think before I talk about how to build a strong community with your NFT project, I think we have to understand why community is important to your project or your IP. So you have to understand that NFT, there are two very important characteristics that gives you a chance to grow with your community. So the first one is that everyone knows NFT is a token that to approve your digital assets on the blockchain, so meaning that it can be transferred. So you will see like people staring at OpenSea and see at the floor price all the time. So what does it have to do with your community? The idea is that for all the OG holders, if your community like doing very well, they will be willing to, especially for profile picture NFT project like us. You see, I use our avatar as my profile picture. So for all your holders, if you're doing well, they will be willing to put your pictures, your NFT. On their social media. So naturally, they become the ambassador for your project. So you can save a lot of marketing budgets. So that is why I think the floor price and also the first characteristic of NFT that really helps and really motivates your community to do the marketing for you. So the second thing is that most NFT projects actually they authorize their holders to use their NFT for business use. Let's take Bored Ape or Elysium Shell for example. Actually, one of our holders, she's a rapper, and she used her avatar, her e-shell, and put that e-shell on the album, and that's something that we definitely want to see. So naturally, again, it gains you more exposure, and it forms a virtuous cycle, and together, your project and your IP and with your community, you can grow together. So after all these, you might want to know, how do I do this? Actually, it's very simple. I would say there are 4 steps. The first thing is that you just have to keep building. You don't stop. Because in bull markets, like it feels like everyone has a promising future. Like no one that cares what you're doing. But when bear market comes, only those like who don't stop. The community will going to see your value, and if they recognize you, again, like I said, the virtual cycle can be formed, and you can keep going. So the second thing is that you have to communicate with your community, especially in bear market. You have to keep them updated all the time. Because if you just building, but you never talk to your community, like you don't interact with them, then what's the point? So you have to talk to them and make sure they understand your visions. And so they'll follow you and try to promote your ideas to other Web3 communities. So the third thing is that you have to stick with your roadmap. Because you have to know that all the holders, the reason that like you, they love you, it's because of a roadmap. But a lot of time is that as a project owner, you face a situation is that some people just approach to you, say, hey, you should do this, you should do that, but hey, you should ask yourself, what do you really want to do? And what your community really likes. So stick with your roadmap, and then communicate with your holders like again and again. So the last but not least, I would say is the most important thing is that ask yourself, what do you want to achieve with your community? I always say, together we're strong. That's what I always share with all the Elysium fans. So, because we believe only with the strong community, a NFT IP can be built and could be stronger. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so I totally agree with, because I've seen a lot of projects, the founders, they kind of just hide, they kind of stay behind the scene and they never step into, for example, like Discord, they never talk to their community directly. I think as a NFT founders or as a IP builder, you need to talk to your community because they liked to see you being sincere, you know what I'm saying? So, and also, because during the bear market, for example, like our projects, what we suffer is we try to attract as many people outside of cryptos to get into the NFT worlds or to get into our community. So I think at the moment, the ability to connect Web 2 and Web 3 is extremely important. So I would like to ask Alex about how do you connecting the dots between the Web 2 and Web 3, how do you leverage your resources between Web 2 and Web 3?
Yeah, this is something that we went through as kind of a traditional Web 2 production studio moving into Web 3. We faced a lot of challenges, and I think the biggest difference looking back at what we've been doing is as a Web 2 company, you're always given plenty of time to go into pre-production, and we're talking about building IP, building brands, right? So there is usually months of time. If we're building a game, anywhere from 6 months to 12 months of pre-production to figure out what this IP looks like, what is the backstory, what are the visual directions, how is it gonna fit into the game. In Web 3, you don't have that kind of time, right? Because everything is moving so quick. You have new projects coming out every month. Floor price changes if you don't have news come out. So that's the number one thing that we have to get used to when developing this IP. And my advice to anyone that's in Web 2, thinking about building an IP for Web 3 specifically is your product is not the game, right? You're building the IP. So your product is actually the IP. When you're thinking about building this IP, I think it should really be thinking about what the target audience like in Web 3, which a lot of times it might be the actual product, sometimes it might be hype and news. But think about that, how much time frame you have to actually build something and still sustain the kind of the attention of your users, and then reverse engineer what kind of product you can build in that time frame. I think a lot of us are actually building game products, which in hindsight, that might be the most challenging thing in this space. If you look at a lot of products, NFT projects that's doing well right now, they might not necessarily have an actual product they're delivering, but the IP itself is super strong. People really resonate with it. I think looking at a project like Azuki, looking at a project like Bored Ape, Bored Ape has many different layers, and Azuki also has many different layers. They chunk it up so every month or two they deliver a new product to their team and the holders, and the holders feel like they're getting something of substance. They like the IP more, and this way the team can kind of decide whether or not they want to continue moving forward this direction, or the holders want a new direction so they can change to a different direction. And then all in all, it's just, I think the main takeaway for us as a Web 2 company is to really think about the time frame you have and optimize the product you're building and the IP you're building so it fits into this schedule.
Thank you, thank you. So I want to follow up with another question to Walter, because apparently you have a lot of experience in the gaming industry, and you have experience like esports. So what do you see? What do those successful IPs have in common in gaming or in esports? How did they do it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think building an esports team is all about building a fan base, right? And we have millions of fans all over the world online, on Twitter, on Discord, and things like that. And I think we've taken a lot of those learnings to figure out how do we build, a Web3 experience, right? It's pretty similar, right? And I think, as Benson mentioned, it's very important to be very actively engaged with your community. And I think, like for example, in esports, myself, our CEO Andy, our GMs will be on Discord, will be on YouTube, will be on Twitter, explaining to our fans how here are our roster moves, here are why we picked up this player, here's why we had to make this difficult decision to drop a player. And that engagement builds loyalty, builds trust with our fans. You don't really see that in traditional sports, right? You don't really see GMs or owners of teams going out and explaining why they cut this player or put in this player, right? You're starting to see a little bit now with Bob Myers of the Warriors getting on podcasts and things like that. And so we sort of have taken that into sort of our mentality of how building a Web3 game, right? And I think the other thing that we've really learned with building an esports team and a loyal fan base is content, right? Content is king. Our team started off as 5 guys in a gaming house making vlogs on YouTube with their phones, getting millions of views and streaming on Twitch. And we were going to do the same thing with how we're going to build out our game and build out our community, right? You're starting to see a lot of esports teams also starting to go into the game development space. And what they do is they bring the fans and they bring the community along with them in development, right? Like other teams have what they do is they show fans and shoot content of like, hey, look, this is our play test. We brought in influencers, we brought in players, and that's how they build their community. So I think that's what we're trying to do as well.
Got it. Yeah, I think the key, one of the key to build a successful community is engagement and the ability to pivot your plan, the ability to be flexible. Because if you engage your community a lot, of course, I think every one of us have seen like FUD, right? FUD in our Discord channel, FUD in our Twitter space. But I think one part is we are able to pivot. We're able to change our plan according to their suggestion. I'll say suggestion, I'm not going to say FUD. Yes, and speak of flexibility, I know Maurice, Monkey Kingdom, originally you guys are aiming for a blue chip project, right? And I heard that you guys have pivoted your plan a little bit and try to connect with the Web2 industry a little bit more. Can you tell me about more?
Yeah, sure. So we started exactly a year ago, and so it has been quite a ride. And so recently, around like 6 months ago, so we started to think about, okay, what are we doing next? So we have this amazing free generations. So we picked the last generation and we put it together with a metaverse concept. It's called mobile game metaverse. So we are building a kingdom verse. So it's like kingdom and metaverse combined together if you trade the word. So it will become like a series of casual mobile games, and we actually been building it, and we have really amazing results just last week. So we have been partnering with Fractal. So we have actually doing our alpha testing of our new game. It's called Defend the Kingdom. So you have all these amazing monkeys, playing, and so it's a mobile game, and then they are like we have NFT on it as well. So the test result, we got like more than 1,000 active users in less than 24 hours when Fractal published it. So we become the #1 Web3 games on Fractal platform. And we also have just finished free mint last week before our team fly to Taipei. So it's really encouraging as well. I mean, it's like all the 990 NFTs are off mint in less than 24 minutes. So we can see that according to from an NFT plan, and then we make a really strong gaming now, and also with this MGM mobile game metaverse concept. So we will keep building more different casual games. So yeah, I guess this is how the gaming part is starting. The other second project actually we are working is called Monkey Bits. So it's also another word from Monkey Kingdom, right? We got a Kingdom verse, and now we got a Monkey Bits. So because the first and second generation, we actually got partnered with an auction house, is Sotheby's, and also Philips. So we actually got this NFT auctioned. So we're thinking, okay, we got this experience, and also we got this NFT in our blood and also in the DNA. let's also try to build like some creative infrastructure in the Web3. So we are building a penny auction style of a Web3 auction house. It's called Monkey Bits with a native token. So I guess this is something that we're exploring on both creativities and also our IPs, and also like trying to be innovative and keep building as well. So I guess we have been flexible in terms of like the direction they were taking in, and also we have a great marketing team, and also like really great brains in the team as well to keep brainstorming every week to think, okay, what should we do next? So I guess this is how the whole journey happened within just a year. Yeah.
Yeah, congrats on your changes. Because for C-Cube, we have met a lot of Web2 company where they try to transition to Web3. And I think one common, I won't say mistake, just one common thing I have seen is they all try to, they all think they already have a successful IPs, and they did. But when we talk about like Web3 IPs, I think like engagement and like what I said before, willing to change and willing to pivot is extremely important. And for those companies, I often explain to them, a lot of you guys, when you guys watch YouTube, right? You like to watch a vlog, or a day in life. You want to participate with that building stage. Same with the IP in Web3. So for Web2, because they want to have the final product to release to the communities, they often forget what the communities and what's a successful and mature Web3 IP is participates. So I think when Web2 companies, they come in, they need to change their mindsets. It's okay to give the community your stereotypes. It's okay to give your communities your draft. You don't need to give them, you can give them your prototypes. You don't need to deliver final products. So this is what I have experienced when talking to the Web2 companies in terms of building IPs. And I think, do you guys have any questions want to ask the speakers? We have like around less 5 minutes. If not, and anything you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll just add on to your point, right? I think there's a lot of learnings from Web2 game studios, right? Like the biggest ones, if you think about it, right? Like all the big multiplayer games like League of Legends, right? Like Dota, like Overwatch, all of them have to foster community. And I think that the games development studios that listen to their community usually do better, right? Like League of Legends and Riot Games is really, really well known for building the community, for listening to their fans, and like making balance changes and things like that. Other game studios, which I will not name, don't, and so they sort of fall on behind. And I think this whole idea of games as a service, right, where you're launching a game, right, where it's not a finished product yet, but you iterate really, really quickly based on feedback, right, is going to be super, super interesting. You saw that, right, with Fortnite, right? They launched an incomplete game, and now look at what it was, after a couple of years.
All right, thank you. And thank you all for listening. And we're going off, right? Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.